Twitch has made a big update. We're making some additional updates to our sexual content policy. We realize that our earlier update caused confusion and appreciate all the feedback we've received. Thanks for always coming together with us to build the best version of Twitch. Okay, here we go. Let's read what it says. On Wednesday, we updated our sexual content policy. Our primary goal in making these updates was to make our guidelines easier to understand and enforce. Part of the update included changes to how we treat fictionalized nudity. For years, through user voice and conversations, we heard from artists that our content policies were limiting. In making this update, we were trying to be responsive to those requests and allow a thriving artist community on Twitch to utilize the human form in their art. Well, they also utilize the furry form, and we've seen that before too. First, we want to make it clear that some streamers, in response to this update, created content that was in violation of our new policy. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I read the new policy. I'm not sure if it was really against it was a violation. The problem is that this was such a it's so ambiguous. How is it really against the policy or not? So now this is the only thing that they're now getting rid of. You can still write on your boobs. You can still do strip teases. You can still do content that highlights your boobs or pelvic region or anything like that. You just can't do nudity. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, it's not like they're scaling back the entire thing, but obviously, like, here's what happened, right? And, like, I guess we'll just read it and I'll explain what happened. So here we go. Let's see here, trying to respond to these requests. There's also a great deal of new content that was allowed under the updated policy. Much of the content created has been met with community concern. These concerns we share. I don't know why. I mean, just don't watch it if you don't like it. That's literally all there is to it for me. You don't like something, don't watch it. Problem solved. Upon reflection, we've decided that we went too far with this change. Digital depictions of nudity present a unique challenge. AI can be used to create realistic images, and it can be hard to distinguish between digital art and photography. This probably is the real reason why it happened. It's like AI art. People are trying to do like AI art of like actual streamers and stuff like that. That's probably was. Sad for actual artists, yeah. Americans are such prudes. It's pathetic, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really sad that we're going back to the 2000s now. You know, we've had so much like like liberal censorship, and the conservatives said, hey, wait a minute, now it's our turn. And now we're getting conservative censorship. It's very annoying to me, and I wish that I wish the country wasn't full of dumb fucks, and maybe that wouldn't be the case, but that never will be the case. It's always going to be full of idiots. Anyway, AI can be used to create realistic images, can be hard to distinguish between digital art and photography. True. So effective today, we're rolling back the artistic nudity changes. Moving forward, depictions of real or fictional nudity won't be allowed on Twitch, regardless of the medium. This restriction does not apply to mature-rated games. You can find emote-specific standards, etc. And this is basically, we aren't making any other changes to the updated sexual content policy. So this is, again, there were 4 big things that they did. Like, you can focus on your titties, you can focus on your ass, or your dick, or whatever. You can do all this. This is all totally fine. You can write on your boobs and do body art with that. And you can also do strip teases, but furry porn was too far. Which, again, here's what I think, okay? This is my opinion. You don't like it, don't watch it. It's literally that simple to me. If you don't like it, then don't watch it. And I don't want anybody telling me what I should and shouldn't see. There's like super, super bad extremes, like with CP and stuff like that. But overall, I don't want to have that happen. And I think that parents, this is the real reality, is that kids on the internet, how many of you guys were kids on the internet, are going to find porn. They're going to do it. They're going to find it. It's going to happen. You did it. Everybody in chat did it. And we have this massively intellectually dishonest conversation going on about how, oh, well, you know, they're finding it on Twitch. No, they're not. They're looking it up on Google, the same as I did. You're looking up big boobs or big ass on Google. What are you talking about? It's just not even, what the fuck? Like, how is it true that every single person did this whenever they were growing up, but somehow we're pretending like the people now aren't doing that, and somehow Twitch is the way that's exposing them? Get the fuck out of here. It's such a ridiculous thing. It's such a lie. Such a total fucking lie, and everybody knows it. It's just crazy, man. That is the question. God knows, yes. If there is no replacement to parents. Twitch isn't your mom. Twitter isn't your dad. There is never going to be a time that one of these websites is going to be a good parenting device. Parents should be taking accountability for what their kids watch, and any internet content that your kid watches that they shouldn't see is your responsibility. And that's all there is to it. So, we've got on the menu, off the menu. Strip teases, boob streams, ass streams, hot tub streams. Because this is what I would say, right? If you want to protect the kids on Twitch, and this is an important thing for you, this is actually what I would do. I would permanently ban anybody on Twitch that had an OnlyFans. I would permanently ban them. Because that's how you deal with this problem. Yeah, if they have it, if they're linking to it in any way, if they're linking to something that does link to it, then I would ban them. Because that is a... Let me think of a way to put it. Clearly, people use OnlyFans. They advertise OnlyFans through Twitch. Right? This is clearly the case. Everybody knows this. And it's intellectually dishonest to say otherwise. That's why they do it, right? It sounds 100% fair. Yeah, if you care about kids, that is what you should advocate for. It's literally that simple. And that's the interesting thing about principles, is that principles are oftentimes very simple. And people intellectualize them in order to justify why not following them is okay. So yeah, anyway, all these things are off the menu. Furry porn, AI deepfakes, anime girls of questionable age. Okay. Guys, I'm gonna be honest. I'm still feeling pretty good. Because to be real, guys, I don't give a fuck about this. I think this is weird. So if they want to get rid of it and keep the boob streams and the strip teases, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy. Yep, and it's not a surprise that the nudity thing, people went completely overboard with it. Everybody was trying to do the most insane thing possible. I can see why Twitch changed it. It made a lot of sense. And again, I think that parents should parent their kids. That's literally all there is to it. Any exception to that, any expectation on a platform to do that is complete bullshit, because you know that kids are just going to go to porn sites anyway. Everybody did it whenever they were a kid. Kids are doing it now. And if you actually are against it, then you should ban M-rated video games and people that are doing OnlyFans and Fansly and all that other stuff. So if this is a principled stance, then take it. But if not, I don't want to hear about these piecemeal solutions that are just, some weird way to lash out about girls being in a gaming space. I think it's fucking cringe. But yes, we have lost furry porn, we've lost the AI deepfakes, and we have lost the anime girls of questionable age, and to that I say good riddance. I'm completely fucking fine with it. I don't like it. That's the way it fucking goes. But we still have the booba streams, and we still have the ass streams. There it is. So yeah. Good fuck that. And kids rated compactors for porn? I don't know about that. Yeah, I didn't know the right column existed. Oh, yeah, I know. I always found it so weird. Parents who want companies to educate their children take no accountability for them. Parents love taking no accountability for their kids, and it's because most parents are stupid. And that's why their problem is that their kids are stupid, but they don't realize the fact that it's genetic. They're just stupid. And so it's like if you're an apple tree, where do you think things come from, right? Well, I mean, you know, apples come from apple trees, and then they turn into apple trees again. Big fucking surprise. I'd say worse than stupid. Yeah, exactly. Can Bean still twerk on stream? Bean can still twerk on stream. Everything else is the same, but they just got rid of this. Which, as I said, guys, pretty reasonable. To be fair, obviously, I think Twitch went into it and they thought, oh, this is going to be okay. It wasn't understandable. But yeah, we still have all this other stuff. So I'm happy. Yeah, good riddance, especially with this one, man. Like, you know, I know that some people have been upset about me on this topic, and there's been like a lot of you know, of these like weird NSFW people that have been trying to like support me. I want you to understand something, especially with this right here. I think that the Venn diagram between people who like sexualized versions of anime girls that are prepubescent and pedophiles, the Venn diagram, I think that's a circle. Nobody wants to say it, but it's true. What if it was 2,000 years old in the war, though? Everybody knows what a 9-year-old girl looks like. Not gonna play any of those games. That's all there is to it. We all know exactly what you're doing. We know exactly what you're trying to say. Nope, nope, period, that's it, nope. Don't want to hear it. Everyone agrees on prepubescent. The problem is purity. American police who make teenagers. Oh, I don't know about that. I think a teenager, you know, a character that, again, it's anime, right? So I'm not talking about, like some, oh, she's 17 years old and 364 days. Like, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about, like, the fucking 8-year-old ones, okay? Let's be reasonable here. Like, everyone's arguing, sorry, they'll take it back without a month. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But she's a dragon? No, she's not. Thoughts on VTubers in general? I'm a huge advocate of VTubers. I think VTubers are great. What's the problem with VTubing? VTubing is amazing. So yeah, I think that's great. But the point is that, you know, I think, like, it's a very, very small subset of very bad actors. I don't think depictions of small women should be an automatic, that's a child. Guys, do we all know what I'm talking about? Do we all know exactly what I'm talking about? Everybody knows it. And you do too. Because some people got a little bit confused about some of the stuff that I was saying on Twitter. And so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that and, you know, just kind of like make two different charts. Things that I personally, what the fuck? That I personally dislike. Okay. Things that I would ban. So there are a lot of things that I personally dislike, but I would not ban them. Does that make sense? So, like, for example, I don't really particularly like any alcohol. So, in my personal opinion, I think it would be better if nobody ever drank alcohol, ever. All drugs. All drugs. I don't think that anybody should do drugs unless it's prescribed medically to you. And I also think that, like, weed is the least harmful, but smoking weed isn't good for your lungs, and you can't drive while you're smoking weed, and it's basically just alcohol. But it is actually better than alcohol. I don't think you should really do that either. Obviously, I wouldn't ban this. I would not ban this at all. But I just personally think the world would be a better place if it didn't exist. Does that make sense? Damn hot take. Yeah. Yeah, and so, pothead's mad. Well, you don't have to be mad. I'm totally in favor of legalizing drugs. I totally get it. I'm talking about how I live my personal life. Does that make sense? A moderate drinking of red wine is way better. I don't know about that, and I don't know. I think that the way that 99.9% of people consume alcohol is probably bad. And no one here smokes more than me, but you're correct. Yeah, for sure. And so those are the main things. The things that I would ban. Kids on social media. Kids on social media. Period. I think that there should be no kids on social media. I think that all social media platforms, and I want to make this like super clear. I think that all social media platforms, there should be two options. There should be have a kids app that is curated for kids with specific restrictions and limitations, and that is the only way that children can access your app. That's it. There should be no other way that it can happen, and other than that, I don't really think that... I think also, by the way, all social media platforms should be read-only to users. So what that means is that if you open up Twitter and you don't have a Twitter account, you can't read Twitter. I think if you open up Instagram and you don't have an Instagram account, you can't read Instagram. You can't see this stuff. Because the reality is that there's a lot of porn. There is a lot of suggestive stuff. And I personally think that it's all bad. And I don't think that kids should have any place on it. I think there are tons of predators that are online constantly. And that's the real dangerous thing. Like, seeing a boob isn't really a big deal, right? At least I don't think it is. But predator rings are. And that's what happens on social media. Do you dislike marijuana? No, I'm a complete supporter of it. I support people being able to drink and also do drugs, like smoke weed 100%. I'm talking about what I personally think. Like, so does this make sense, right? So, like, I personally dislike it, but I don't want to tell you what to do. Yeah, it's literally that simple. Great idea, though. It's almost impossible to enforce. You could easily make it to where websites had to be read-only. You could 100%, the government could make them do that. Absolutely. It's about a principle? Yeah, it is about a principle. Yes, it is. And just go to church, find out the world's biggest predator rings. There are a lot of predators that are also not in churches. I know, obviously, like, somehow you think this is some kind of, like, competition with, like, who has the most predators. No, it's not. Predators are bad. Whether they're priests or whether they're, gym teachers or whether they're just random freaks on the internet. Like, it's all bad. So, no, it can't be a U.S., whole world, whenever whole world uses his apps. Well, if the app functions in the U.S., then the app should function based off of the U.S. law. The same as every other app does. If you want to use these apps in other countries, these apps have to follow the rules in the other countries. That's all there is to it. It's not even a question. Draw a big red circle around personally disliked because people can't read. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. And so anyway, these are things that I personally don't like. Now, also, oh yeah, another one. And this one is like kind of in between. And the reason why I'm putting gambling in the middle is because of this. I think I've lost the battle on this. I do. I think that culturally, gambling is so significant, and there's so many people that are doing gambling. And, like, I thought, like, for example, on Twitch, right? I thought that this was going to be a big problem in Europe. But the reality is that gambling's even bigger in Europe. I didn't realize this, but it's fucking massive. It's your bubble. It is. It is. And also, like, it's become more normalized over the years. Like, I feel like in the past 5 years, like, you know, am I right here? I think gambling has gotten way more normalized. Like, I'm talking about like 5x, 10x more normalized, more like integrated into society. It's absolutely fucking massive thanks to gaming. I think it's mainly because of sports, to be honest with you, because gambling sponsors have become normalized for sports, and because sports is mainstream, then the mainstream culture normalizes it. I think it's because of sports betting, personally. But I think gambling is like it's kind of like a niche, you know? How is gambling different than gacha? Why don't you like gambling? I don't like gambling because I think that it's manipulative and it's destructive. A lot of the people that gamble, and also, so I don't like gambling because of the functional effect that it has. So, for example, this is the way a lot of people start gambling, and this is what happens to them. And this is very well documented, and it's extremely dangerous, is that they lose a lot of money, and then they try to spend more money to get the money back that they lost. But because gambling obviously isn't designed that way, they just keep losing money. They keep chasing losses. Like, you're not able to chase losses in a gacha game in the same way that you can in gambling. So that's why gambling is worse than gacha. Does that make sense? That's their problem. Yeah. And exactly, chasers. Yeah, and so that's what happens. And so that's why a lot of people that gamble kill themselves. They kill themselves because they've racked up so much debt and they've destroyed their life on such a degree that they feel like it's insurmountable and they can't really come back from it. And so that's why gambling is really bad. And again, this is a personally dislike. And I also want to make sure this is very clear. Like, I've received a lot of 7-figure offers to gamble. Right? I mean, like, if I went to a place like Kick or something and I started gambling, it'd be 8 figures. I'd probably get over $10 million for doing that. But I don't do that because I just don't like it. That's it. And this is like, and I'm not saying that again, and this is why I have it right here in the middle, and I don't really know where it should be. Because I realize that, like, things I would ban, and this is the problem with having, like, any sort of, like, real power, is that whenever you actually have the power to tell people what they can and can't do, I think that you have to have a complete ethical and moral, what's the word for it? Like, mandate. You have to have an absolute moral and ethical mandate on it. Like, for example, I can completely morally and ethically justify why kids on social media shouldn't be on social media. But I actually don't think I can completely justify why you can't gamble. Does that make sense? So, like, I'm 95% sure with gambling. I'm 100% sure with kids on social media. So, yeah, fair. Yeah, and that's a framework. Well, no, it's just that it's a moot topic, and also because it's bad. It is extremely bad. And the reason why I think it's very bad, I don't do it. Right? It's literally that simple. I just simply don't do it. Controlled gambling is fine. This is my opinion, everybody that becomes addicted to gambling starts with controlled gambling. I don't think this is also a gateway drug, because it's like saying heroin's a gateway drug to heroin, right? I mean, I don't think so. I think it's the same thing, right? Gambling is gambling. It's not fine. Yeah, it's bad. So yeah, that's it. But, like, I mean, the thing is that I feel like I've totally lost this battle, like, culturally. And that's why I don't really advocate or talk a lot about bad stuff about gambling anymore. Because Twitch went and they banned gambling, but they didn't ban gambling. Because if you go over here, like, slots is massive. Virtual casinos is massive. Collectively, these have 35,000 viewers. There are 35,000 people watching this stuff, and nobody seems to give a fuck. Now, like, I wish that it wasn't even there at all, right? And that's the thing. Over 20K, poker too. Oh yeah, I forgot about poker. Yeah, exactly. Isn't this TOS? They banned stake gambling. Well, like, again, I don't view there being a tremendous moral difference between stake gambling and other forms of gambling. I don't think that like stake is way worse than these other types of gambling. I think they're all the same, really. Now, obviously, maybe stake is a little bit worse, but people just get addicted to gambling in general. It's like, I guess, like, you know, fentanyl is worse than heroin, but heroin is really bad. That's the way I view it. Maybe stake is fentanyl, but heroin isn't good either, right? I mean, I think they're both really bad. They're both, they're part of the same spectrum. They are. They are. Absolutely they are. And I stay in business because they always win. Of course they do. But what about poker? This is a personal dislike. Do you remember how I told you guys that I don't like to turn games into something that has stakes? You know, it's kind of a weird way to say it, right? Because like the company, but like I don't like to have stakes in gaming and like stakes and just like relaxing. I do these things for like what do you call it? Like leisure, right? So like I don't like playing hardcore in video games. I don't like doing any of this content, right? I really, really hate it. I just really, really, it makes me it's unsettling. It's stressful. I don't like it. I feel the same way about poker. I don't want to bet money on it because now I'm stressed out. I play games to relax, to not have any sort of accountability for like a decision I make. So yeah, to me, I'm not a fan of even that. That's why like a lot of other people did like the, you know, like the poker sponsors. I never did. Now, I'm totally fine with other people doing it because this is a personal feeling of mine. But would I ban poker? Probably not. But the reality is that people can gamble. Like gambling is a spectrum. And the worst part of the spectrum is slots and sports betting. The reason why I think slots and sports betting are the worst is because the user has almost no control over the outcome. So gambling becomes, in my opinion, kind of, I guess, better the more that you can control what the gamble is and how the outcome of the gamble goes. So like, and also, by the way, I know that you can win on sports betting, but you think about like how easy it is to win on sports betting versus how easy it is to win in poker. I think poker, it's probably more controlled than sports betting. In the same way that slots is less controlled than sports betting. So it's all on a spectrum. And sports gambling, way different than slots. Oh yeah, I understand that it's way different, but it's also still something that you're not directly controlling. But anyway, I think I've lost the battle on gambling, guys. I think culturally, I've lost. I think that everybody is now totally okay with gambling. Nobody gives a shit about it at all. And it doesn't matter. What about super low stakes games like $1 poker game? Or do you view that more as a gateway drug of some sort? Again, I wouldn't make that, like, I don't want to tell other people what to do generally, right? But I think that the end like thing that I'm talking about, right? You've also lost with kids on social media though. I don't think that I've lost with kids on social media because I think that any reasonable person that like looks at this problem will see immediately that kids on social media is really bad. I do. I actually think that the problem is that nobody ever talks about it. And I think the reason why nobody ever talks about it is because these social media websites exert a tremendous amount of influence and they try to keep people from talking about it. They don't want people to talk about it. Reasonable people see gambling the same way. I personally think gambling is like tremendously more dangerous than what do you call it? Like than like, you know, pornography or something like that. I think it's, again, like it's just a completely different wavelength. Most parents don't care. Yeah, you're right about that. Social media companies not responsible for it to take. You guys think that like absolutely. You think that like seeing boobs on the internet is as dangerous as gambling? What? I view that they're both equally dangerous. No, they're not. Are you insane? What are you talking about? Like, that's the most... This is what? Gambling is infinitely more dangerous. Are you crazy? The fuck is wrong with you? Again, it's like... Oh my god. Both things are... what do you have? A standard? Yeah. Puritanical silliness. Yeah, exactly. People don't care that others have a gambling addiction, losing their family houses, people taking loans, etc. Porn doesn't even come close to that. Yeah, exactly. It's just such an insane thing to say. Porn addiction is bad, but gambling is 100 times worse. Yeah, absolutely. They're equally awful, Baldy. Why are you crying? According to what? According to what? What do you mean? In no way, yeah, in no way are they equal. This is crazy. How equal? How the fuck do you get there? Yeah, both are tempting. Equal to an incel. Equal to somebody who wants them to be equal is more like it. They're forgetting these people think that they have to be on social media all the time instead of logging out. Yep, you're right. And again, gambling kills. It does, absolutely. And you all saying this by addiction is bad? Well, by saying addiction is bad, you're right about that. But I think people can get addicted to caffeine, right? We all know that caffeine is addictive. Everybody knows caffeine's addictive, right? Okay, so caffeine is 100% addictive. Is heroin addictive? Yes. Okay, it is addictive. So both caffeine and heroin are addictive. Are they the same? There it is. Both are drugs, exactly. And so, yeah, apples and oranges. Yeah, it's completely different. And that's my point. Boobs are first thing you see after being born, not sexual in context, but nonetheless. They're incomparable, dude. Exactly. And so, like, I think people that are making these arguments are just insane. The addictive factor is the only thing that's the same. Sex addiction is not the same as pornography addiction. I think there could be a lot of other things to it, too, as well. And porn addict fucks up your relationship. Gambling might lead gambling your wife to pay your debt. Well, there's a lot more. Isn't gambling itself that's dangerous? It's the abuser. It isn't gambling itself that's dangerous. It's the abuser. Because, yeah, I saw that some people were... you want to put Black Ops 2? What's this? I'll look at this later. Why would I support gambling ban? Yeah, there's been a lot of people... I saw this earlier. There have been a lot of people who actually think that gambling and boob streams are on the same level. This is the world that we live in. The previous stream, he said that gambling's bad for adults, but not even porn. That's right. Yes, I think that the adults can consume porn, and it's, you know, it's fine. I don't think that gambling is good for anybody. Yeah, boobs don't kill people. Yeah, it's insane that people are even comparing the two. People think it's the same, drives me insane. Well, they don't think it's the same. And you have to understand that. Is that it's goofy as fuck that porn and subsequently porn addiction have terrible effects on human psyche and the body overall. What's he on about? Sure, it does have a 98% chance of fucking up your whole life with gambling, but it's still undeniably bad. How can somebody make this argument about porn, but you can't make it about video games? Because somebody's saying it's a psychological addiction. Well, what about video games? Like, I don't know. I think it's the same thing. You can. Yeah, it is the same thing. So, like, based off of this logic, why do we have video games? I think there's a lot of people that play video games that fuck their life over it. Like, I would say porn addiction is the same as video game addiction. Because we all agree, right? Video game addiction is real. Naturally, video game addiction is real. Anything can be addictive, right? But it's the degree in which it's addictive and the degree in which somebody exercises that addiction. So in a person that exercises their addiction to porn, they sit around all day watching porn. Whenever somebody exercises their addiction with gambling, they oftentimes kill themselves and start taking out loans and end up running out of money so they can live. To say these are the same thing is just massively dishonest. It's the same thing with video games. So yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Not everyone's addicted to video games, but everyone can be addicted to sex. It's fucking sex. Well, I think that people can be addicted to games. Of course they can. Yeah, I mean, that's really the point. Let's see here. As I'm speaking about wise genius, it's always right. You can be wrong sometimes, actually most of the time. And again, this is the comment of a bunch of circle jerking Redditors that are mad in my Reddit, by the way. Angry in my Reddit about things that I'm saying, and they're all circle jerking each other about how wrong I am, but without having a single example of it, except for one person who made the equivalency of porn addiction and gambling addiction. That's right. This is the level of intellectual dishonesty that's on Reddit. It's incredible. Porn addiction is way worse than a game ad? Like, what do you mean by a game ad? I'm talking about a game. I'm not talking about an advertisement for games. I'm talking about games itself. Playing games. Find examples of people ruining their lives with video games and porn, probably even the extent of them killing themselves? Absolutely you can. But the frequency of it happening is like extremely low, and oftentimes it's indicative of a larger problem and not necessarily the porn itself, if that makes sense. So, does anybody have an example of something that I've said that's incorrect? And let's see here. Egomaniac, more than lately, stay in echo chamber a long time, you'll become like that. I wonder why this person thinks that they're not in an echo chamber right now. Because these are all people that are clock surfing by chat, but sometimes amazing to see. A neutral perspective seems confrontational. Half the bots and streams to ban them instantly. Well, because they're fucking stupid. And this is why. And what's this? McConnell gives a reality check. They're all true, easy. I don't even know what you mean by McConnell giving me a reality check. Why? By saying that I don't play video games as much as I used to? Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? This is so weird. Watch him stream lately. Chat's been unbearable. Does nothing interacting him. Senseless arguments throughout the stream. Debating with them. 10 minutes is an understatement. So, I never said minor white advertises PG-13. It's not a genius dud. Don't think anything wrong with what it said. Biggest L for me is never had to... Okay, here we go. So this is an example of something that a person has said. Biggest L for me is that he's never truly had to experience how stifling a large corporate culture is to its employees. So he spends most of his time yelling at devs for not solving easy game issues. You can be an extremely talented employee that's given little agency. It's a prevalent phenomenon. I've witnessed it firsthand. I can solve this problem. Here's how I would solve this problem. No, this is our direction, what we're going for. We have a new idea. Larry has amazing leadership. Another example. Asmon's wrong about a lot of shit. I understand this concept. Yeah, I've talked about it too. Like, I mean, we all know that I've talked about this, right? Like, I've said this is true. And I talked about, like, I think I used the word, like, it created a chilling effect where nobody wants to take initiative. I'm fairly certain I've said this multiple times. So this is, again, like, the only person that has a point is a person that made it up. It's not even something I said. And I explicitly, and the only thing that I said is that I don't think it's exclusively management's fault. And I don't agree with the narrative that every bad decision that developers make is an outcome of bad management. I think that there are bad developers out there. And people got mad about that because nobody can see any nuance in what I'm saying. You literally said it yesterday. I did. I said it yesterday. So there it is. So many hate watchers flocking to Reddit. Yes, exactly. Watch him talk about he put a video I'm referencing. He used to blame Bobby, but now he's shifted malding to about incompetent devs. It's a concept that's hard to grasp until you experience it. Like large groups of people shockingly incompetent whenever a single person can solve many issues. He always says leadership matters too. Not that it's unique to gaming. As Asmon says though, Bobby's not over there telling Blizzard to load every vicinity stash. Yeah, you're right. Leadership is everything. So this is a person, I think this is the reality. So this person is talking about me saying this, and let's break down what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that I don't understand the topic because I haven't experienced it. So this would imply that they do understand the topic and they have experienced it. So using that logic, they're probably a developer. And assuming that, I bet they took offense to what I said because they thought I was calling them out. Of course, leadership is the main one that's responsible, but that doesn't mean that every developer that's working is somehow good. And no, I don't believe that all of the developers are super talented, super great people that all know how to do their job, and it's just these evil management people that are ruining everything. I don't believe that because it's not in line with any other job or any other organization that I've ever been a part of. There's incompetence completely down the ladder. And also, generally, if you have an incompetent leadership team, the incompetent leadership team cultivates an incompetent work base. That's just how it works. So people that are getting mad about this straw man argument on both sides, there's no straw man that I'm arguing at all. I'm saying that he's right, but so am I. And to say that I'm wrong about this is literally just ignoring the other half of things that I said, so somebody can try to make some sort of conscientious Reddit post about why they think a streamer is wrong about something. I never even said this. 60% developer's fault, 40% leadership's fault. I think it depends on every single time. And let's see here. Multiple friends talk to me in detail about slow-moving, inefficient system is. Makes people not really invested. There's a way. He also agrees with me. Stephen Sharif bashes the creation. Its angle he emphasized whenever talking to Asmon about it. Yeah, well, what's the logic here? Like, I'm a supporter of Stephen Sharif. I talked to him. He said that. But somehow I don't even think it's true. That doesn't even make sense. And this is the mind of a Reddit essayist. Arguing, jousting with windmills, arguing against straw men, and simply not knowing what they're talking about. They're actually stupid. Smooth maintain, carrying devs under your supervision being terrible, that's the consequence of terrible management. You're right. Yep. People on Reddit even read essays someone posts? No, not really. Let's see here. There's nothing morally wrong with boobs, they're just inappropriate for minors. Gambling, however, actively ruins millions of lives and contributes to depression, addiction, substance abuse, and suicide. Yes, obviously this is the case. Let's see if we have any more. Did this person actually ever even justify what they were thinking? Oh yeah, here we go. So this is the original poster. And so one thing that you can do that really usually destroys the argument of a person like this is you just have to ask them to explain what they think. And then it becomes immediately evident that they didn't. So gambling can ruin your life, boobies don't. Then this is the original poster that started another hate thread about me on my own Reddit, angry because I'm not agreeing with him that porn is as bad as gambling. Bro, a big part of the US population is addicted to porn. I'm sure it seeps into lives and affects them negatively. Then someone says, there's no way you think porn addiction is equal to gambling. Both are bad, but one's way worse than the other. People legit sell their houses going to massive debt for gambling. And is this person going to respond? Oh, they did. Dude, both addictions are bad, but porn addiction affects way more people than gambling addiction. It's easily accessible. It's a stepping stone from Twitch if we allow that type of content. And if we want to cherry pick bad examples, make your argument whole. Ted Bundy. So this is, again, this is what happens whenever a stupid person explains themselves. And I just wanted to like show this as an example of like why I don't take feedback like this seriously. It's because it's not being made by serious people. Aren't we kind of getting away from the heart of the debate by just comparing gambling and porn? Well, I think that this is a person saying that I had double standards. And I don't. I think that porn is infinitely less bad than gambling. It's not even remotely close. And I think that, again, like any sort of explanation of how they are close is immediately evident that it's fucking stupid. And this is the thing. And this, remember what I've said before many times about how the people that perceive double standards and the people who perceive hypocrisy usually do so because of their own lack of understanding. So yeah, that's why I've said many times, people that do this kind of stuff are always dishonest, never educated, and just stupid. And all you have to do to see that is to ask them to explain their perspective. That's it.